Students, we are going to start with the new chapter, the third chapter in bio. First chapter which we had completed was the fundamental unit of life. Second chapter which we completed is tissues. And now we are going to start with the new chapter, that is chapter 15, improvement in food resources. It's a very long chapter and you've already learnt something about it in 8th standard, various practices, agricultural practices. Now here, before starting with the chapter, I want to know what is the need to improve food resources, right? Now as you all know, all living organisms need food, right? And food supplies proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins and minerals. And all this we require for body development, growth and health. Not only us, both plants and animals are major sources of food for us. We obtain most of this food from agriculture and animal husbandry. Now here we are listening since long that as we are increasing in population, right? Population is increasing at an alarming rate. But do you think that we are able to increase our grain production also? Are we able to increase our food production also? Now that we have to find out, because 70% of our population is dependent on agriculture. Without agriculture we cannot survive. Okay, so here we have to ensure that on the same piece of land, see, land area also is going to remain the same. We can always increase the production, right? But here, as you all know, that population is increasing, urbanization is increasing, modernization is increasing. So here we are occupying more of the land and we are making high rise buildings, we are making schools, we are making companies to earn money, but we are not thinking here that from where are we going to eat food. So we have to think in advanced way, where on the same piece of land we have to increase our per hectare quantity. And at the same time, if we are increasing quantity, we cannot compromise with the quality. So let's study the next slide. Now the question arises, what is the need for increasing food production? As such, we are producing enough, but still if you see the hunger rate in our country, the people who are below poverty line, they are not able to get one day meal also. If you see the laborers, those who are in the construction work, they earn the money that day itself. They go and purchase a few ml of oil, then rice, sugar, these all things every day they go and purchase things, right? So here we need to find out the ways, that how on the same piece of land we are able to generate more harvest. As you know, our population is more than 1 billion and it is still growing. We all need more than 1 billion tons of grain every year to feed this growing population. Since increasing the area of land for cultivation is limited, we cannot increase the land area, it is necessary to increase the production efficiency of crops as well as livestock. Livestock means we are talking about the animals, the poultry farming, the fish farming, right? The marine fishery, all these things, cattle farming. The production efficiency of crops and livestock can be increased by adopting scientific management practices that we will study to improve crop yield, undertaking mixed farming, intercropping and integrated farming practices like combining agriculture with livestock, poultry, fisheries, beekeeping, etc. As you must have heard about the Green Revolution, efforts to meet the food demand by increasing food production have led to some successes so far. We have had the Green Revolution, which contributed to increased food grain production. We have also had the White Revolution, which has led to better and more efficient use as well as availability of milk. But these revolutions, that means we are using our natural resources more and more intensively. As a result, there are more chances of causing damage to our natural resources to the point of destroying their balance completely. Therefore, it is very important that we should increase our food production, it's very, very important point, without degrading our environment and disturbing the balances maintaining it. Hence, there is a need for sustainable practices in agriculture and animal husbandry. Okay, children? Okay, children, now come to page number 203, first page of the chapter. Last paragraph we will be reading. You also read. Please open your textbook. Yes, I am giving you few seconds. The first line says, improvement in crop yields. Cereals such as wheat, rice, maize, millets and sorghum provide us carbohydrate for energy requirement. Pulses like gram, chana, pea, matar, black gram urad, green gram moong, pigeon pea arhar, lentil is masoor provide us with protein. And oil seeds including soybean, groundnut, sesame, castor, mustard, linseed and sunflower provide us with necessary fats. As you all know, we need 5 basic nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals, right. So here our balanced diet should always include all these nutrients, right. It should have carbohydrate in it, it should have protein in it, it should have fats in it, it should have vitamins and minerals. Vegetables, spices and fruits provide a range of vitamins and minerals in addition to small amounts of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. In addition to these food crops, fodder crops, fodder crops which are required for the cattle like barsim, oats or Sudan grass are raised as food for the livestock. The animals also need food, right? They also need a balanced diet. So for them we are growing plants, we are growing fodder crops, right. So here remember that we are getting what from these things. Now turn the page, there is one question. Can you see that question? Question number 1. What do we get from cereals, pulses, fruits and vegetables? Now you will be able to write the answer from the paragraph which we have read. Just copy down the answer from it. Okay. Now next here, different crops require different climatic conditions, temperature and photo period for their growth and completion of their life cycle. Now here, as you all know, the crops are grown in the different season, because some crops need more amount of water, some crops need less amount of water. Okay. So here we have to ensure that we are growing crop according to the season. So as they have mentioned here in the textbook, please all of you read the textbook, page number 204. Different crops require different climatic conditions, temperature and photo period. Can you tell me what is photo period? Photo means light, period for duration of light. How long the sunlight is required for the growth of the plant, right. Photo periods are related to the duration of sunlight. Please underline this. Growth of plants and flowering are dependent on sunlight. As we all know, plants manufacture their food in sunlight by the process of photosynthesis. There are some crops which are grown in rainy season called Kharif season. Now here this you have already learnt, right. Now come to the slide. Different crops require different climatic conditions, temperature and duration of sunlight. Kharif crops are crops grown during the rainy season from June to October. Like paddy. Paddy means we are talking about rice, soya bean, maize, pigeon pea, green gram, black gram, cotton. These are the examples. Rabi crops are crops grown during winter season from November to April, like wheat, gram, peas, mustard, linseeds, etc. Remember these examples, remember the differences between these two, right. Now after this, let's read this one more paragraph. In India, there has been 4 times increase in the production of food grains from so and so year, right. Now if we think of the practices involved in farming, we can see that we can divide it into 3 main stages. The first is the choice of seeds which we are going to plant. The second is the nurturing of the crop plants. The third is the protection of the growing and harvested crops from loss. Thus, the major group of activities for improving crop yields can be classified as, children, these are the 3 important points: crop variety improvement, crop production improvement, crop protection management. Okay. So here crop variety means here we need to find out the quality seeds, because if we are increasing quantity, we cannot compromise with the quality. Suppose if we are eating chapati, a wheat which is chapati which is made up of wheat, and that wheat is not having fibers in it, so the purpose of eating chapati is not solved, right. So we have to ensure that we are not compromising with the quality. Quality comes first, but at the same time we have to ensure that we ensure what? We ensure quantity also, because the population is rising, right, and we have to ensure that we are providing food to all the people. They all should get food at low price. Okay children, you can see in this slide improvement in crop yield. Crop yield can be improved by 3 main activities. They are crop variety improvement, crop production improvement and crop protection management. Now in this class here we will complete crop variety improvement. Now let's see this, what variety is, how can we improve, the seeds are there, how can we get a better yield by getting good variety of seeds first of all. Okay. So crop variety improvement is done by selecting good varieties of crops. This is done by hybridization. See, in the same way here, if I talk about animals, animals have animal husbandry, animal breeding. In the same way here for plants we have hybridization. Hybridization is this is one mark definition, is the crossing between genetically dissimilar plants to obtain crops having useful characteristics like disease resistance, good quality and high yields, right. So here we have to ensure that we are getting a good quality of seed. Now this can be done by doing hybridization. Hybridization may be intervarietal between different varieties, interspecific between different species of the same genus, or intergeneric between different genera, right. Another way of improving crop variety is by introducing a gene to obtain the desired characteristics. This produces genetically modified crops, GMO crops. Now here I just want to stress more on this, I will explain you. The first part, as they have mentioned, hybridization. What is hybridization? Now here when a plant is growing, the flowers are there, right. Now on the flowers here, I just recollect your 6th standard, stigma, style and ovary is there. Okay. Stigma becomes receptive, and when it becomes receptive, it is ready to receive the pollen grains. Pollen grains fall on the stigma, okay, and then pollen grains will be checked by the stigma that are they belonging to our species or not, because have you ever seen on the rose plant jasmine flowers? No, right. So here rose plant stigma will check whether the pollen grains which have fallen on the stigma on me, is it of the same species or not. If it is of same species, then only it will allow it to grow. Okay. So here what they will do, they will cover it. Now here they want good variety. So what they will do, they will do bagging technique. That means they are going to cover the stigma, they will select the best quality of pollen grains, and then with the help of forceps they will place those best quality of pollen grains on the stigma, and then they will again cover it, and they will allow it to form pollen tube and fuse, right. So this they are doing it artificially, that is called hybridization. This cannot be done naturally, okay, it is artificially. Then second one here is improving crop varieties by introducing a gene to obtain the desired characteristics. Now here this is genetic engineering, where suppose when our genome sequencing is done, when we get to know our genome sequences, which all genes are present where, what is the location of those genes and all, right. So when we get to know that, and if we get to know we have a gene which is defective gene, now what can be done, this defective gene can be replaced by a good gene, right. So what we are doing, we are introducing a gene to obtain the desired characteristics. Suppose if you see the plant, if this particular plant is having disease resistance power, but it is not having good quality of fruits. So what we will do, we will find out the gene responsible for the good quality of the fruits, and then we will replace it by a new gene which is having desired characteristics. That means what is the desired characteristic? Good quality of fruits. So that gene will be replaced, and this is not so easy the way we are discussing it, but these are the techniques which are being done, okay, and we call them as genetically modified crops, GMO. We have genetically modified animals also, right. For example, if I talk about mule, mule is a hybrid of horse and donkey, it is a sterile animal. If I talk about liger, lion and tiger, potato and tomato, right. So this way here they have done this artificially. There are n number of plants and animals which are there, which have been obtained by these all procedures. But again there are people, they always say that these are unethical practices. You should not, whatever is present in the nature, you should go with it, you should not modify it. So there are group of people who do not accept genetically modified organisms, genetically modified crops, they do not accept it, okay. Now once we have chosen the best quality of seed, right, now for new varieties of crops to be accepted, it is necessary that the variety produces high yield under different conditions. We have, in our country we have seasons, different seasons. The temperature varies from state to state also, region to north, south, east, west. So here it is very important that it should grow in different climatic conditions, and it should not be, like that it is having, a very sensitive temperature resistance, where it is able to not adjust in the wide range of temperature, right. So it is very important that it produces high yield under different conditions that are found in different areas. Farmers would need to be provided with good quality seeds of a particular variety. See, government has already started many programs in which government is distributing seeds, healthy seeds to the people, to the farmers here. But again, there is a corruption at that level also, where people, they are taking seeds from the government and they are not distributing it to the farmers, because there are different, different economic strata farmers. So here, if it reaches to them, then they are able to grow them. Otherwise it is being, sold to other persons who are having enough money, and then the people who are the mediocre people here, those who are, forming connection between the government and the farmers, they earn lot of money. That's corruption. Okay, so it's better that directly it should be given, or from a particular place the farmer should go and collect it. But again, these all things we need to look into it. Farmers would need to be provided with good quality seeds of a particular variety. That is, the seeds should be all of the same variety and germinate under the same conditions. Cultivation practices and crop yield are related to weather, soil quality, and availability of water. That's very important. Since weather conditions such as drought and flood situations are unpredictable, varieties that can be grown in diverse climatic conditions are useful. Similarly, varieties tolerant to high soil salinity have been developed. Right? Now here, if you see the textbook page number 205, here there are 7 points. These 7 points are very important. Please, all of you, pay attention to it. We have started with the chapter. We have discussed what is improvement of food production, why it is required, right. Then we discussed about green revolution, white revolution. Then we discussed about what do we get, why do we eat food, okay, we get nutrients from which all things, that we have discussed. Then we discussed about kharif and rabi crop. Just recollect, children, I am just telling you so that, if you have missed any point, you should know, and then you can ask me the at the end of this period. Okay, then we discussed about the main 3 points: crop variety improvement, crop production management, and crop protection management. Then we started with the first topic, crop variety improvement. So how are we going to improve the variety? We discussed two methods. First is hybridization, second is manipulating the gene, displacing the gene. Then we discussed here the 7 points, right, the 7 points which is given in your textbook. The variety which we have selected should grow in a diverse climate. Okay, the first point here is higher yield. To increase productivity of crop per acre, that means it should produce more tons of grain. Okay, it should be giving high yield. That's the first and primemost thing. Second point here is improved quality. You can read from the textbook. Improved quality. Quality considerations of crop products vary from crop to crop. Baking quality is important in wheat. Protein quality is important in pulses. Oil quality is important in oil seeds, and preserving quality in fruits and vegetables. That means here the fruits and vegetables should have shelf life. Okay, if they have, very short shelf life, they will be spoiled soon. So when we are, keeping the fruit, when we are exporting it, when we are importing it, so we have to ensure that they have a long shelf life. So we are increasing the quality as well as quantity both. The third point, biotic and abiotic resistance. Crops production can go down due to biotic, that is, biotic means living, diseases, insects and nematodes, and abiotic, that means drought like situations, salinity, waterlogging, heat, cold and frost. In those situations also, plants should not die. So the variety which we are selecting should have resistance towards biotic, that is the insects, that is the diseases, etc., and they should have resistance toward abiotic factors also, like waterlogging, drought, flood like situations and so on. Next point, fourth point here is change in maturity duration. to reduce the duration between sowing and harvesting so that farmers can grow multiple crops during the year. This is very, very important. See, previously, many years back, farmers were able to grow only one crop because the maturity duration was very long. But now we have variety which when you sow it in the soil, within few months you are able to harvest it. That means in a year you are able to grow two crops, minimum two crops, and many a times it is three crops also. That's called crop rotation, right? So here maturity duration should be less, right? So when we sow the seed, we should within few months we should be able to harvest it also, so that we are able to earn more money. The sixth point is wider adaptability. Okay, to grow crops in different climatic conditions, we have to develop varieties for wider adaptability that will help in stabilizing the crop production under different environmental conditions. One variety can then be grown under different climatic conditions in different areas. It should not be, so sensitive that if minor change in the temperature is there and then the plant has died. That should not be there. So we should choose a variety which is able to adjust in a wide adaptability. Okay. And the last point here is desirable agronomic characteristics. Characters like tallness and more branching are useful for fodder crops, and dwarfness, dwarf, short heighted, okay, is desirable for cereal crops. As you all know, in fodder crops we need what? We need tall, we need more leaves, more branches, so that it can be fed to the livestock, so that it can be fed to the animals. Whereas if I talk about the cereals, we are only interested in the grains. We are not interested in the height of the plants, we are not interested in the leaves, right? So those plants, cereal crops should be dwarf, whereas fodder crops should be of more height. So you can read here, tallness and profuse branching are desirable characters for fodder crops. Dwarfness is desired in cereals so that less nutrients are consumed by these crops. Please underline this. Thus, developing varieties of desired agronomic characters help give higher productivity. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. Now let's see the in-text question. How do biotic and abiotic factors affect crop production? Just see on the same page, you will get the answer. Third point, you can write in your own words. Second question, what are the desirable agronomic characteristics of the crop improvement for the crop improvements? That is also there in the last point which we have discussed just now. So you can write in your own words. Okay, children?